Good morning, sunshine.
Welcome to the real world. Whoa! Mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with breathe air. There's no second best, okay?
Good morning.
Oh my god, every single time. It's like the pause button doesn't work. GM. Trade of the day. Wednesday, 21st of August. So, what's the market telling us? Not much, really. BTC sold off yesterday. Down into these lows here. Looking at open interest, we still have a build-up. Which I'll just take everything off and just look at OI. There's still an ongoing build-up of OI across this sideways structure, which I think needs to get resolved. It peaked yesterday, right before the breakdown, so that was a divergence. And quite a big divergence too, where you have price going significantly lower across these levels here, and yet open interest from peak to peak to peak, we're seeing here, rising. And so positions are building, price is not moving and following that direction, which if it continues to break down can be fuel for a lower move. So if you see price confirming to the downside, that can offer an unwind of this positioning, which can be fuel to go lower. But divergences go both ways as well. If these are positions building and there is support under the market, and let's say the market's unable to break below this level, which seems to have been a pretty solid support all the way along, 58k around that pivot, and you start to see it actually holding and moving the other way, next time it makes a high, that'll be a pretty explosive move. So open interest, like I say, is fuel. It doesn't tell you the direction of the market. It tells you when the market gives a directional signal, that open interest can be fuel for a move. Because whoever's wrong in this build-up of positions will have to close, and that could be a strong up or down move. Right now, as I see it, if we go back over to just a regular chart, I think BTC is definitely showing classic distribution signs, right? Impulse lower, sideways correction. And I mentioned a couple of these paths yesterday, but looking at all of this, let's just go back and look here. And look at where did price go? Let's go to a 1 hour chart. We still have these untapped lows below. So these solid red lines. And as price moved up in that squeeze on Tuesday, it moved up into simply an area of the previous breakdown, which you can look at this 1 hour order block there, and also the inefficiency, the gap on the candles. Fill that in. It then distributed and pushed down, and so on the same way, it's left a gap above us, right? So it moved up, pushed out above the highs, dropped back down. There's gaps left there, and quite often that can lead to a choppy market as it grinds up into it and then falls over and goes lower. Or if it's going to confirm to go down, it's going to break this level here. So if it breaks down below there, I'd expect a move down a bit further. And if not, expect to keep holding, and squeezing, and squeezing. And at that point, you're either looking at this, or if it squeezes up, you're seeing a breakout. So these are the most common paths you would expect to see for price. I'll put these in different colors just so we can see them. Put this one red. And looking at this here, right? Yesterday's the sell-off, the low of yesterday's sell-off, if that breaks on a close basis, that very likely sends the market down into some of this liquidity below. If it keeps grinding higher, I would expect this very, very typical, after even impulse down, it just chops and chops and chops and chops. And all it's doing here is taking out shorts, and then the short and short, and they get squeezed out. And then if you see a break of structure and it starts to roll over, down we go, following the same path. Or if it just keeps chopping and chopping and chopping, it can actually be building up for a bigger move. Right? You see this quite often as well. You can see this where the market seems to be, distributing and seems to be bearish, but it just keeps chopping and grinding, but higher and higher and higher, and actually it builds into an impulse move. And we had that actually on a lower time frame here. If you look at this move, it was like that. It was chopping up and up and up and up, but actually led to a bigger move. So there isn't much in the way of clear directional trend nature. This price action currently, I would say, is early bearish / distributive, but the higher time frame Bitcoin is still above that 58, which is support until it's not. And we have gaps above where it could squeeze up into. And so market is probably in an area that doesn't offer much in the way of trades. Maybe around the New York Open. Like we got that move yesterday where the market flushed down during New York hours. And whether there'll be another directional strong move today like that, I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. The market action lately is pretty confined to New York hours. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how it goes. That's it. GM. See you all later. 2 streams today, 4 p.m., 6 p.m. Ask Michael and Wipeout Wednesday. GM.